What is going on, Bucs fans and CFP fans? Evan Wanish here, back at you with yet another video talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today we are doing our first edition of the 2025 season of Players to Watch. This time for the Bucs Week 1 matchup against the Atlanta Falcons. It's a lot on the line this game. It's a divisional game on the road. You want to start the year 1-0, right? And I am not alone in this one. Joining me is my CFP co-host, Mr. Rhett Matthew. Rhett, you ready to break this down?
Yeah, man, I'm ready for football to be here. We have waited long enough. The regular season is upon us, and Buccaneers football is back. We have got some division action to kick things off, and I'm just ready for it to be here.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that sentiment. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Starting on the offensive side of the ball, our first player to watch is going to be left tackle Charlie Heck. Now, Charlie Heck was signed in the offseason to essentially replace Justin Skule as the Bucs' backup swing tackle, essentially. And he's playing a bigger role than I think the Bucs anticipated when they signed him, because Tristan Wirfs is going to be out for this game as he's still recovering from that knee surgery that he had. Shouldn't be too much longer for Tristan Wirfs. I don't think he's going to miss a ton more time, but he is going to miss this game, and Charlie Heck is going to fill in. So I think he's somebody to watch. And how do you think Charlie Heck being in there impacts this offense and the offensive game plan itself?
Yet to be determined. Again, the Bucs losing Justin Skule last year at that swing tackle position. He was serviceable when they needed him to step up, but I think Charlie Heck here with a lot of pressure early on without Tristan Wirfs out there. I'm just curious to see how this goes. I think 3-4 drives into this game, we're going to have a pretty good idea of how consistently dependable Charlie Heck can be at that left tackle position. I'd like to see him in the run game. I'd like to see him in pass protect, at least give Baker a clean pocket. It helps that he has as strong of a supporting cast around him as well. And K. Dotton has the green light for this game, so he can bring in some extra manpower there to help block some of those stronger guys coming off of the edge. But I'm going to be watching Charlie Heck very closely here, as I'm sure a lot of other Bucs fans are as well.
Definitely, and he's going to be a pretty big part of this game. Now we're going to be moving on, staying on the offensive side of the ball, but we are going to be looking at rookie wide receiver Ameca Ibuka. Look, I mean, I think Ibuka, not only for the role, but also like where he's picked, right? He's a first round pick. It's a position player. That draws excitement. But then when you think of Chris Godwin being out and Jalen McMillan being out, all of a sudden, Ameca Ibuka is this team's wide receiver too. And I think I mentioned this on the podcast that we did. You guys can go check that out right now. Well, after this video, I should say. But I don't think the Buccaneers are going to have training wheels on him, right? I think it's going to be full go for Ameca Ibuka. I think they're going to open up the offense for him, and we'll see how he does with that. I think Ameca Ibuka could end up being an X factor in this game for the Bucs. What do you think of the rookie and what he could have in store in his debut?
There has not been a rookie wide receiver in Tampa Bay with this much hype since Mike Evans, all the way back in 2014, seemingly. I really am curious to see just how involved Ameca Ibuka gets here because, we talked about it on the game preview show. I think this is trial by fire. Again, you mentioned the lack of reinforcements. Jalen McMillan going to be missing the season. We already knew Chris Godwin going to be out for a chunk of the season here to start things off. So, Ibuka is really being thrust into the driver's seat here, and I think he's capable. I think throughout the preseason and training camp, we saw a good look of not only how he composes himself, but how he shows up and just looks on the field. He looks the part, man. He looks every bit of an NFL receiver, and I think that the more you get this guy going, the better he's going to be. It's just the question for me is where exactly does he start off here in week 1? But I'm excited to see him get the football.
Definitely. And I think, again, I think a lot of Bucs fans have been watching the training camp clips, right? They watched a little bit in the preseason, and I think they want to see a lot more of that. So hopefully we do on Sunday. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, we're going to be talking about another newcomer, Haason Reddick, who was the Bucs' basically big free agent signing, signed a 1-year, $14 million deal with the Bucs in free agency, trying to prove that last year was kind of a fluke, right? I mean, he's been a really productive pass rusher up until last year. year, and last year with the Jets, it didn't work out. He had the whole contract thing, and then he played and only got one sack, and it was a mess. So the Bucs are hoping that he regains his form where he was getting double-digit sacks, I believe, 4 straight seasons before last year. So hopefully he can, and there's an opportunity here with the Falcons a little bit banged up on the offensive line here. They had their starter, one of their starting tackles down, and one of their backup tackles down. So there's going to be, I think, an opportunity for Haason Reddick to make an impact on this game. What do you think about his presence there?
Yeah, the recipe's right there in front of him. As you had said, the backup to the backup offensive tackle is in their plan right now. So I don't see any reason why him nor Yaya Diaby on the other side of the defensive line shouldn't have a good time getting after the quarterback this week. But I think it's just good to see where he is physically and how productive, again, he can be. Because if Yaya Diaby doesn't develop on the other side of this edge, the other side of this defensive line, the way we would like him to, you're going to be relying on Haason Reddick to bring a lot of that pressure with 4 down linemen, something the Buccaneers, again, have had issues with in seasons past. That's exactly why you brought in a guy like Reddick. So going to be a lot of people watching him close, and I think that with this Falcons offensive line being as busted up as they have been, especially this early in the season, I'd like to expect some fireworks from Reddick here.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they do, right? Hopefully it's an impact play, maybe late in the game. He can make a play that makes a mark. Really, and then we're going to be moving on. One last guy. This guy has been on the team, has been on the team actually for more than one season. But now he is finally getting a starting role. That is linebacker SirVocea Dennis. The Buccaneers are trying a similar thing that they did with KJ Britt last year, admittedly, right? It didn't work out with KJ Britt. Hopefully it works better with SirVocea Dennis. And SirVocea Dennis is a guy who the Falcons did not see against them last year. And I think he could be another guy who's one of them X factors there on the defensive side of the ball for the Bucs.
Yeah, and I think this is a good benchmark for a guy like SirVocea Dennis because we know that he's talented. Before the injury, everything that we have seen from him thus far, the Buccaneers coaching staff is very high on him. They're high enough on him to give him a starting job this year right next to Lavonte David, even after signing some veteran presence at that linebacker position. You still got Deion Jones on this team. So, going to be curious to see where he's at, but I think this is a good test for him because of the personnel of Atlanta's offense. They still have Kyle Pitts, who, again, most people would say that he isn't very productive to most of the NFL, but he's very productive against Tampa Bay. And then he could have a tough time tackling Bijan Robinson, Tyler Allgeier, guys who both have been very productive against the Bucs in the past. So I think he's going to have his hands full, but I think he's capable, and I'm curious to see how he handles these challenges in front of him. He'll have some help from Lavonte David, of course, but I want to see Dennis make some plays here.
Definitely. And I mean, I think it's important to find a running mate for Lavonte David, right? And the Bucs have yet to do that since Devin White left. So hopefully they can right now in SirVocea Dennis. And week one's going to be the start of that trial, basically, because I think that's what it's going to be, right? They're going to try and see what they have in a guy like Dennis, and hopefully it's positive things. But let us know who you're watching on Sunday. Who are you going to be keeping a close eye on? Who do you think is sort of that X factor? Who needs to play well in order for the Buccaneers to ensure victory this week? You can check out all of our stuff, Betting the Bucs. We had that earlier this week. Our game preview show was earlier this week as well. After the game, post-game show, going to be live right after it. And we'll also have best and worst. So a full season of coverage coming to you guys on YouTube. We appreciate you guys watching on YouTube. It was very successful last year. We're happy to bring back all the coverage this year. Hope you guys are still enjoying it. But thank you all for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And go Bucs.